We're gonna open up the Water Sewer Commissioners 2000 FY25 discussions. President is Bob Josie, Colin Hare, and Bob Sullivan.
And
And it's
7:15.
7:15. Bob, you wanna start off?
All right. So how do you want to approach it? Just go down the line.
Yeah, I want to see
Which one you starting off with, water or sewer?
So if you
You're
want to
gonna
just
go both.
if you want to just take off the top part on the two there, we can just go ahead and I'll just say that the increase in salaries is there. Some of that's based on steps and years within the new chart that was approved at town meeting.
you want water or sewer?
That's why I said both. To just
Okay.
if you just want to look at that, I mean,
All right.
there's nothing special. It's the salaries are what they are. Some of it's guessing on the overtime, and these do include the positions that we need to fill. So. So the full-time wages went up a bit because there were some steps in there, and the percentage increase from what the town administrator said the COLA would be this year.
What is the COLA?
2%.
Oh, I gotta start the tape here. Sorry.
Put it upside down.
Okay. Play and record, right?
Yeah, but is the tape in the right way?
No, it's probably upside down. Okay, there you go. So wages are up 12,009 for the full time.
Yeah, so the total, it's up 18,920 on sewer and 18,565 on water. And that's leaving stipends where they are. I don't know, you had mentioned something on that, so I didn't know if you want to try to do it already. Like we ran into last time you guys did that, we need to get on the town
Well, it's gonna go
article as well.
Yeah, it's gonna be on the article for
Right,
the stipends. Yeah.
yeah. So I need to know sooner rather than later if you want to try to do something with that, so I can.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to do the at least bring it up a little bit so we can stay consistent.
So what are you thinking on that? It's 1,000 each right now.
1,200.
So we're up 600. 3 each.
The last column is the increases, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you guys need to vote on raising it.
I think it would just be on the whole budget because it's in the once we vote on the budget.
Alright, so I'll increase that by 300 on each department. Alright, so let's start on the sewer side. So that's the one that ends with the, or has a 6044.
Yeah.
Alright, health insurance, I did not get numbers from the town hall yet, so I just increased it by a percentage. Maybe 10%. So that could go down. And it's just gonna be what it is, and I'm kinda guessing on what new employees would take for insurance.
So, so we do still need that number from Gene.
Yep. I believe Matt was just in a meeting yesterday over the health insurance stuff, so I don't know if that's where they find out what there's gonna be increases or not. I'll try to talk to him tomorrow.
Same on the, so basically, all the way down, health insurance opt-out, so those numbers would all have to come from up above.
Well, the opt-out, that doesn't change,
That
and that's
doesn't
gonna be the
change.
same. The waiver's not gonna change. The HSA won't change unless we get new employees, and depends on what plan they take, which we're not privy to that information, so. I gotta guess. The FICA is pretty much set. That's why that one went down $352, because it's, I did get that from Gene, what the percentage would be. So I factored that in based on the salaries. So, if we want to go down to the next line that we'd actually have something to talk about is the electricity. I increased that by 5,000. We got the Gilboa Street pump station. The pumps are going to be significantly larger than the existing ones. I'm assuming we're going to use a little more electricity there. Depending on how much additional flow we get between the North Village, the Sleepy Hollow, the 1.1 million square foot building, this 508,000 square foot building. If the flow increases enough, we may have to put the third basin online here, which would have the blower running a third more than it does now, which is our big electrical consumption. So it could even go up more than this 5,000. It all depends on how everything plays out down here.
Yeah, so it looks like it was, we were pretty close in the closeout of the FY 23. In 24 we had spent so like 67. So we budgeted 75,000 in 24.
Yeah.
So you have it up to 80, okay, yeah. Yeah, that would be probably closer, because that did go up. We were only had, in FY 23, there was only, we used 96% of that.
Right.
So which left a balance of like $2,500. So, yeah, that's a good number. That may even need to go up more, depending.
That's what I said. Yeah. Definitely could go up. I'm, like I said, trying to.
Because the rates did.
The number's high, so I'm trying to be as, a little less conservative than I typically try to be.
Okay, so. That one, heating.
Heating, I went up a little bit. I have no idea where we'll end up using natural gas versus the propane.
Mm-hmm.
And I also last year, I kind of offset how much heating we would use because I used all the fuel oil from here to run mobile.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't really buy fuel oil there, but we are this year because we burned up all the fuel oil from this tank and the old generator
Yep.
when we moved that over.
So it looks like.
So without using heating, the year before, 23 we did 8,600 and we had a budget of 9,000. So
Yeah, we've only used 3,700.
yeah, these numbers are from a month ago, and we didn't even get into the heating season really. So
I was gonna say the natural gas would be a lot cheaper than,
well, natural gas is cheaper, but it also only has 0.556 BT.
Yeah, it's about a third.
Comparable.
BTU rating is different, yeah.
So if oil's $3, if gas is $2, it's equivalent.
Yeah,
to
gas is, oil's 140 and propane is 92. And because I don't know how you go with natural gas because it don't go by the gallon.
Natural gas is just over 50% of propane.
It is?
So you use 50% more of natural gas than you will of propane. But the dollar is a lot less.
Right.
So overall, from everything the gas people told me, it should be a net savings, but that salesman telling you everything. So
Yeah.
like I said, I increased it by 1,000
Mm-hmm.
simply because I don't know yet. And we didn't heat mobile last year through the budget. It was done through what we had on site from other fuel sources.
Where do we-
But I don't have the number right here, but if you were to look at, I don't know if it was under fuel, I'm not sure which line item Lee put it under, but
On the heating?
I don't know if she put it under heating or not, but we filled the new generator, and that was a ridiculously large amount of money. What was it?
I spent 3,700 in heating, so.
Yeah, that's not where it is then, because it was far more than that just to fill the generator. Yeah, I don't remember. I'll have to look at it.
Where do we end up in 23? Let me see. 23, we ended up,
8643.39 compared to 9,000.
yeah, so actually we were pretty close on that one too, because that was at 96%. We used the 8,600, so. Okay, so 1,000 increase on that,
And not knowing where the
that's justified.
prices are gonna go, who knows?
Yeah. So repair and maintenance, you pulled out the 154,
Yeah,
the previous,
that was the outside of normal stuff that we were doing.
yeah, so. We reduced that down to 50.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little bit higher than.
I think I went up 10 for what our standard line item
Yeah,
is.
that's what I was looking at. Looks like
'Cause we
we're about
have-
10.
Multiple things that need repairs,
Yeah,
just not standard stuff. You got a 20-year-old wastewater plant that's
in great shape.
needing more repairs. It is in great shape compared to what it A typical 20-year-old wastewater plant looks like.
Okay.
But you got a lot of equipment that's exposed to
Yeah.
harsh environments.
Okay, so that's up 10,000 from the normal. Okay,
Rentals and leases, I left it at 1,000.
yeah,
We actually probably need more than that. When we're doing, we should be doing the well rehab at primary, the Cheever well field this year. That's typically when we rent the air compressor. We try to get a newer one without the oil, the lubricant on the oil system, because we can't be blowing oil into the well field.
mm-hmm,
So like I said, right now it's level funded.
yep,
Rubbish removal is level funded.
maintenance contracts,
Maintenance contract, that's typically the backflow prevention testing and surveys.
yeah,
With all the new buildings going in, those have multiple backflow preventers. We're adding backflow preventers to the school. So that price is gonna go up.
so we didn't use,
Yeah, the year before, he didn't do a lot of the sprinkler
yeah,
backflows that he should have. A lot of people didn't turn their irrigation on,
23, so yeah, so we used that,
because we had a rainy year.
so we expended that in 23. Actually, we didn't even budget for that in 23. So it was a negative 2381.
Yeah, it used to be under something else,
Yeah.
and then Jean come.
Yeah.
Every year she pulls it out and adds another line item.
So you're saying that so say it was 28, so say 3,000. So now you increased it to,
Like I said, 3,000 was because that was a wet year. A lot of people didn't put the irrigation on. Probably 70% of our backflow preventers are on irrigation systems, because we don't have a whole lot of commercial stuff. But now we're adding a bunch of big commercial ones.
yeah,
You've got them on the fire pumps, you've got them on the water line coming in, you've got them on the irrigations on these things.
yeah,
So there's more units, plus additional cross-connection surveys that we have been doing with the newer buildings and changes in some of the other buildings. So there's a bunch of additional,
those get reimbursed back anyway, 'cause those.
they do, yeah, we get the money back,
Yeah.
but it's under our budget item.
Yeah,
So whatever is done, we typically recover,
yeah,
so.
so would that be, I don't know if we should put that in there for that thing, if we're recouping money from it.
I still have to have it in the budget, I have to pay it before I can recoup it, I can't have them pay it directly.
No, but there's not, we always have enough in expenses to cover that anyway, until we receive the money back.
Well, we only have enough in there because I budget for it every year.
Well, no, the expenses in general, because most of the expenses you don't get it back, once it's just an expense, it's out.
Right, but you still have to budget for it, I account for that budget line item in the expected revenues.
Right, your accounting saying it's not getting paid,
That's not true.
and if you're putting it in the expense side,
How do we pay it? I don't get to tell all the customers, just pay the vendor directly.
well, no, because we get the bill, but then we bill for that.
Right, so I have an expense,
Right.
and then I have revenue.
Yes.
I account for revenue as part of the expense. So
Yes.
if you look at the numbers that come up, there's 100 line items that I say, I expect this much revenue, so I still have to budget it.
Still,
pay for
you
it.
have to account, right, you have to account for it, but I'm saying as far as if you go through the rest of anything else in this budget, there's no other, that I can see that there's anything else in here that we generate revenue from.
Sure there is.
Where else?
The meters, the meter pit, the radios, all the fittings for service lines, all that stuff we charge whenever we put
Oh,
it in.
that's true, that's all built out. And that's in the public works supply, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you good with that number, you think then?
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I know there's gonna be a lot of additional tests. I think I might have counted them, because I didn't just throw it's 1,140. I didn't put like, that's not a percentage or,
Hmm.
1,500 or 1,000. So I think I went through numbers when I originally did that, counting all the additional tests based on the ones that we've installed, that have already been installed here, and the anticipated ones. And like I said, it's a crapshoot if people have their irrigation systems on or not. And we found a few irrigation systems that were not on the list, so there's going to be a few additional tests there. One of them happened to be while we were putting service lines in, they ripped through the guy's irrigation line,
Where was that?
northeast Maine. So I think it's the house up on the hill. The original house where Sleepy Hollow went in.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
So that, they'd put irrigation in there. So I'm guessing they didn't pull a plumbing permit, because we didn't know that. So you good with that number?
Yeah. Technical.
So professional and technical, we had 20, went up to 30. We've got additional testing that we're required to do. This is on the sewer side, so I'm actually kind of guessing at what they're charging for the PFAS test for wastewater, because they've never done it before, and it was just yesterday that I got the notification that they've approved a method, and we are required to now start testing, because it was in our permit that we got last year that said once a test is available, then you have to start testing within so many months after the approved test is announced. I just got the announcement yesterday. So, based on drinking water numbers, it's between $600 and $700 per test. We have to do the influent, effluent, and sludge 4 times a year. So influent, effluent, sludge, and you have to do a trip blank to make sure you don't have something contaminating. So there's 4 tests, 4 times a year, at $600 to $700 a piece.
So we have, typically the base budget on that is 20,000, so what is that 20,000 covering then?
That's toxicity testing, phosphorus, nitrogen, VOD, nitrate, nitrite, ammonia, TKN,
So
total suspended
in-
solids.
And, let's see, FY '23, what did we budget for that professional technical? We didn't spend any of it, I don't think.
17,147.
20,000, yeah, we budgeted 20,000 on that one.
And again, I'm using the number for drinking water. I don't know if they'll charge more to do a wastewater sample, because it's full of solids. So I'm not sure what process they have to use to separate and determine if there's more stages to doing a PFAS sample on a solid as opposed to clear liquid.
Mm-hmm.
But I did it at the drinking water numbers because I'm assuming it's minimum that much.
Yeah.
So if you've got 4 tests at, and I went on the low end of 600, that's 2,400 each
Right.
sample. We got to do 4 of them,
Yeah.
so that's $400 shy of 10,000.
9,600. Okay.
Advertising, we'll still do some. I put it in there because you guys like to put it in the Telegram. I think the Telegram is useless putting them in there, so I put them on the trade sites, which hopefully I get done this weekend when I'm in here
4.
to get the 3 positions filled.
Did you ever call that guy? I gave you the number.
Did you give me his number? I thought you told him to call me.
No, I gave me a number. I sent you a contact
Oh.
a while back.
For some reason, I thought you were gonna have him call me.
I was going to have to reach out to him. So just reach out to him, set up a meeting.
All right, I'll check on that.
I still have his number if you don't have it.
I'm sure I saw it if you sent it to me. I'll find it. On phone. Right.
So we had 50 on the engineering. Or
Yeah, so that was 50. We had discussed that the last couple of years, to put 50 on both the water and the sewer. That's so we have it just in case some things come up. We'll discuss the engineering line item more when we get into this list, because there's a whole bunch more.
So actually,
But the 50,000 was because of all the projects that we got going on.
yeah, we
And-
typically, not to interrupt, but we typically budget 30 on that. We budgeted 50 because of the Depot Street and other special engineering last year.
That's what I was saying. We each year, like we had Gilboa Street, and if we didn't have that money, all of this never would have happened because we had to front fund
Yeah.
that project, and that actually we got that money
Okay, yeah.
reimbursed to us. So
Yeah.
if we were going with your logic, then we don't need to put that in there because someone else paid for it. But
Well, no.
we had to pay for it first.
Well, I know. Then we have to count for it.
I'm just saying. So, like I said, we put that 50,000 in. I think we agreed that we'd put the 50, but we would make sure, that's why it says special engineering on the side, just so we know not to factor that into rates. Because it's not we know we're gonna spend every year, it's we need it just in case. This year, actually may still spend this year's. We're still trying to negotiate those numbers to get the North Street project done. There's still some things that need to be finished. And we just you were here for the meeting. That meeting that we were having with Gina,
Yeah,
and she said she was gonna go through the numbers to see what that difference is.
right.
So if we can't find a funding source to pay the difference in the North Street project, to finalize that, cause we gotta get that within the next couple of weeks, and she said March
March
14th or
15th, yeah,
something like that.
14th, 15th, yeah.
We have to have all that finalized, so I don't know what the town has for money or how we can maneuver money around. So when I don't remember what she said, between 30 and 60 or something.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I don't know if we'll spend that yet this year or not. But I'll let you know.
So, so you
So,
want
So I put 50. I was gonna put 50 again. For one, we've got, that's just the engineering for North Street right now.
Mm-hmm.
But within the 25 budget, we should be doing Depot Street and the construction, and we'll be doing engineering design on Depot Street. We signed the contract for the amount that we approved at town meeting, but with changes and everything else, sometimes things come in and they have to redesign something, it goes over from what the original contract was. So, for one, we'll need a little money just in case something like that happens. For the second one is North Street, that will be getting into the construction phases. I don't recall, I'd have to look at the contract, if they had the bidding services in the contract for North Street. So if it doesn't, there'll be an additional expense for North Street to put it out to bid, which would be within the 25.
So isn't that whole thing hinging on the grants?
For the construction portion, yes.
So
So, like the
Do we
EDA,
want
the EDA grant, when we did that,
Mhm.
EDA didn't cover engineering.
okay,
So we had to cover the engineering portion
okay,
on an EDA. We don't know which, and it's not technically hinging on grants. We're trying to get the grants to assure it moves forward.
mm-hmm.
It more hinges on that project
Yeah,
moving
yeah.
forward, more so than
and
getting the grants. If we get the grants, we can hopefully do that whole project at no cost to us.
yeah,
If we don't get the grants, we put more pressure on the contractor to
yeah.
try to fund more.
Mhm.
Bob's done great with negotiating with them over some of the projects that we've already done and getting them to commit some money from this project that we saved them towards the tank and some of the North Street project. So we've already got, I think, just ballpark numbers, I wanna say about 2.2 million in pledges from other people
Mhm.
to put towards that. 2.2 to 2.5, something like that. Bob would tell you off the top of his head, but.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I was keeping that line item in there. We have the note on the side so that we're not factoring that number in when we're looking at rates.
Yeah.
So you good with that?
Yeah.
Level funded contractual services. I don't see where that line item is on our other one. Actually, you know what I think that is I think that's IT.
Contractual,
Yeah, I believe so.
1750.
I don't recall. But they went up on their rates. Yeah, I think that's what,
So we spent 1,200 of that.
yeah, 5308, yep, so it's IT contract, that's, we spent 1874 out of 2,000. But like I said, they went up on their rates since 23. Do you have what we've expended this year?
17 contractual service, 1218,
That was 23.
23, 24.
So I thought you had something with what we've
I
currently.
do, yeah. I think we'll spend 24. Should have IT contract 350. No, 1218. Why is that? Oh, we spent 350. I'm sorry. Yeah, so 5 this
Yeah,
year.
and I can tell you that went way up because IT's been down here multiple times since she gave you these numbers. I have to double check.
There was I have another. I don't know if I brought it with me. I'll probably look at it, but there was another one that was added like a closer to date.
Yeah.
Well, closer to that last meeting, I think it was. But it's not a big.
So I level funded it anyway.
Okay.
But like I said, they did go up on their rates. Police details, I level funded that as well. 23, we spent 1,015.
Yeah.
I anticipate probably using some more police details because we got to do some I&I work, and
Yeah.
when we do the I&I, we need police details while they got a truck set up in the middle of the road running stuff down the sewer pipes. So again, just level funded that.
Mm-hmm.
Physicals I went up just because we got to do 3 employees. I don't know what the cost of physicals are, but it seems like everything went up, so
Yeah.
just to be on the safe side, I went up a little.
Mm.
Employee training, again, if we got 3 new employees, there's probably going to need more training, and we're in a new cycle year for licenses, so everyone's going to need to get their hours in. So we good with that one?
Yep.
Went down 300 on telephone, simply because we're trying to eliminate some of the phone lines that we used to use for the SCADA system, communicating between the tanks and the wells.
Mm-hmm.
So I reduced that one by 300. Hopefully we can reduce a few more of those this year and continue to drop that one down a little bit. Postage again reduced by 500. I can hurry up and push this one through since Keith's not here. No. We simply because we send it out now. We don't print and mail the bills.
Mm-hmm.
We use a service, and the way they do it with bulk postage and their permit stamp instead of using postage, it's actually almost cheaper for us to have somebody else do it than for us to do it, just because we save a lot more in postage by them mailing them than us mailing them, because we don't have a permit, so we're actually buying full price postage for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not using the postage as much as we were, so that's why I reduced it by 500. So printing and mailing, that went up by 500, which is the stuff we're sending out instead of doing in-house.
Mm-hmm.
Cell phones, I increased by 800. 3 of the cell phones, I want to say, are going on just over 5 years now. I would anticipate one of them not working. Both people that have the older cell phones, both are saying they're starting to have problems, so I'm guessing we're going to have to replace at least one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Internet services, our price did go up on that, so I adjusted accordingly. Yeah, 23 were 1,300, but I know the price went up when they switched everything over. I want to say we went from like 140 to 200 and something, so I probably didn't go up enough. But that's yet to be determined. I want to say when she did this, it was probably right around half the year, right? We were at 800 then,
Yeah.
so that would be 1,600 if it's right at midpoint. And like I said, I know the price went up in between then and now. Licenses and
Okay.
subscriptions. You still want to look on the
No, I was just looking, just cross-reference and everything.
so licenses and subscriptions. I want to say, do you have that sheet that has what's incorporated in those?
I don't have it with me. On the detail, the expenditure part?
Yeah, well,
I have it at the,
not the
Actually-
detail, just the sheets that Lee generated to say
to show
what goes
what,
into those categories.
yeah. I probably have it. There's a lot of stuff I didn't bring because of, I didn't want to get bogged down too much in it.
Which one was I looking
licenses?
licenses and subscriptions.
Yeah. So we
No,
had,
that's, yeah, Tyler Tech and Ari Erickson and Esri. So the Esri, between the asset management stuff we're doing and need to do further, we have the tablet now to do stuff out in the field.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have to add a subscription in order to keep that active. So I think it was, I wanna say it was $460 for that subscription. So I added 500. So that licenses and subscriptions is Munis, which is Tyler Tech, Ari Erickson for the SCADA software license renewals, and Esri is the GIS stuff.
okay. So we went, what did we expend on that? That was, so we spent like $3,000, $29.77.
Yeah, that was that was 23.
Yeah, and then what did we spend to, anything in 24?
We're at 1675 at around half the year,
Yeah,
so that's 3,300. Like I said, I have to add a subscription on the GIS software. Other services, that's Synagro. So it went up 20,000, and that is solely based on the contract that we had to renew with them. Just in the contract, it went up 14%. So if you look at the 140, add 14%, comes up to 159 something. So I rounded to 160. I think we went up last year. I don't remember what the budget number was for 23.
130.
130.
Yeah.
We spent 120.
We spent yep.
So we went up 20 in
We did.
24.
Went up 10.
Yeah, we went up 10.
Yeah.
What we've spent already is 60. That was about at the halfway point, so that's 120. But this number isn't telling you that Synagro, when they've had all kinds of issues at the incinerator, so they've shut down. So we've missed a ton, which is why you have a little more of the odor out here now. They've missed a ton of pickups for the sludge. And there's other times that they tried coming out here and they said, oh, we're here to pick up. But in order to have them pump sludge out of here, we have to shut the air off like 4 hours ahead of time, have everything settle. So they can't just show up and take it. So,
Oh, okay.
they showed up on a day that we don't even do that. So,
Yeah.
so there's been a lot of issues with Synagro. Unfortunately, our only option is a company in New York. So
Yeah, it's
we'd
not-
have to probably add another
Yeah.
50,000 or so on top of that to use that company instead. I have had conversations with Matt to find out if we wanted to. I got a contact from the lady that was calling all the other towns that use Synagro. She's got a whole list. She contacted everybody with all the issues that were going on. We had a bunch of conversations back and forth. So I talked to Matt to see if he wanted to potentially reach out to all the other customers. I'll get hold of that lady and see if we can get everybody and see if we can just grab everybody and see if New York will give us a deal if we promise them X amount of different customers and volumes. If they can triple their intake in one deal, they might be willing to give us a good deal in order to do so. So we'll pursue that, but I just don't have time to tackle a project that big with all the other projects going on right now.
Mhm.
So that's why that's why other services went up 20. Like I said, that was just straight math right out of the contract. I didn't even factor in if we start getting a lot more flow from all the new sources. That would increase the volume down here that we have to waste. Alright, that's a simple one. Office supplies, level funded. Building and equipment repairs, level funded. I know we still got a bunch of stuff to do, so we haven't spent anything right there yet. Custodial supplies, I went up $100, simply based on if there's more employees, we're gonna go through more of those. So I didn't raise it by much, but I figured it would be prudent to raise it some.
Going on the building,
Building equipment and repairs.
yeah, we'll be at
Yeah, that's-
25. Yes, we only spent. $16 year to date. We're at
Yeah, we haven't spent much because we haven't been doing all the maintenance stuff, the building repairs and stuff. We ended up with a giant list of stuff, so we're holding off trying to figure out which things we want to combine, which ones are going to take priority. So we'll go through that list shortly.
So
That's why there's a big question mark on the side there.
So what do you anticipate in Cinder Grove to be? I don't want to digress, but I was just looking through the numbers, right? So,
160.
okay, so we're currently at at 60, so that would be like 120.
And that was
Add
why I explained all the missed loads.
Yeah.
So
and
we've significantly decreased the loads. The
Right.
contract itself went up 14%.
That's what I'm saying, so if you add that on top, so it's doing the math, so
So
120.
we're probably gonna be shy on what we need there, but
40. Well, I think that should be all right, that. Based on the numbers you were saying. The 160. I think we'll probably come out a little less. Unless there was a lot of stuff that wasn't picked up. I'm not
Well,
sure
like I
what
said,
that number is, yeah.
first, depending on how long it takes Cinever to get their shit together, no pun intended,
Yeah.
we're backing up, so we've got higher volumes now.
Yeah.
If they don't get their stuff squared away before July 1st and we get a bunch of extra loads out of here this year,
Yeah.
that will carry over to next year that we're
Yeah.
gonna have to have additional loads out of here.
Mhm.
And other services doesn't just cover Center Grove.
Yeah.
Of course, they're 95% of it, but.
All right.
So that's also UniFirst.
With the uniforms.
Yeah, and like I said, if we add three in, if we add 3 additional, that would basically double the UniFirst.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, where you at now?
Custodial.
You already explained the additional
Yeah.
100.
Yeah. Vehicle supplies.
Vehicle supplies, I raised by 500. We're gonna need things for all the vehicles anyway. All the, half of the flashers in the old 350 don't work, the 4-way flashers. None of the flashers in the 250 work. So the emergency flashers, just for those trucks, is probably gonna exceed this line item individually.
This thing's stuck. Not ejected. Well, he'll take, we'll inject.
We need rakes and shovels in 2 of the trucks. few other supplies. The curb wrenches we need to replace in at least one, possibly two of the trucks. I forget how Steve's is. So I know there's gonna be additional supplies in the vehicles, so I increased that by 500. Gasoline, I went up significantly. I believe we were way up on those numbers. Flip the page. Yeah, so we're already at 3,800 this year. We only budgeted 3,500, so we're in the wrong line item here.
Oh, that's, yeah.
Yeah, so we're already over by 300.
We spent $3,800 on gas.
If you-
What did we spend in the year? We only spent 2,800.
Yeah. Well,
Why is that?
well, gas prices were all over the place back
Yeah.
in, change administration. You tell me who's going to get in president next year, I might be able to lower that. So anyway, I increased that significantly to counter based on where we are currently.
Wow. How was that compared to the year before that? Have you checked, go back another year and see? I didn't look it up. I didn't bring that other years with me, but
And I did not, but I mean, we're usually pretty close on the gas.
yeah. It's a substantial increase.
And we are, with the stupid BioBot samples, we run those out twice a week. So that's more travel that we didn't do in previous years. And again, if we have additional employees, the vehicles will be moving even more than they do now.
Okay.
Medical supplies, level funded. Those are for all the first aid kits we have around here. Public works supplies, I went up 5,000. I had notes on the side of that. And I don't know why. Don't know what happened to my note. So I will get back to you on why that one went up.
So what do we spent $12,715
This year out of
this
15.
year. So
That's
what
only,
was the? What
that's
was,
only at the halfway point.
Yeah, but what was the base one? It's 15. Typically, what did we spend at the previous?
So it was 8,500 the year
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see. Some of that probably is not reoccurring in some ways.
Public works supplies I would think is reoccurring. Especially on the sewer side. If it was on the water side, I would say we were doing a bigger project, but I think
Yeah.
it went up even more on the water side.
So if it was if we spend 8,500 in FY23, we're already at 12. We were at 12, right?
12,700.
Yeah.
So we're on track to be over 20.
So there's got to be something
But I'd have
different.
to go back
It's gotta-
and look and see what that
what's in
was.
that. What's in that category?
Yeah, like I said, I had notes on the side and I don't know why they didn't carry over.
Let me just double check that
I
one.
missed the second column when I printed. Trying to keep the print a little bigger so we can see it.
Yeah. Look at us. We all got.
I know, we all
got
cheater glasses
cheaters
on
trying to
here.
read it.
Other supplies, level funded. 23, we exceeded the 12,000 we had this year.
What's in other supplies?
WB Mason, Everlasting Designs, so it's computer and office equipment. So, yeah. So, See, and I didn't raise that one, did I?
No.
Yeah, so I didn't raise it, but on the list back here, I did list that we're gonna need to replace that copier out there. And I'm guessing on the $500 for a copier, because I have no idea what it's gonna cost. So I did not include that in here, because I guess it was kind of an out of the ordinary purchase, so I put it separate.
Yeah. So if we spent $1,000 year to date in other supplies, well, not year to date, but roughly 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So do we still need 12,000?
Where are we
What
at?
do we spend? What do we spend in 23 on that?
I'd have to look.
Actually, we spent more. We spent 13,000.
Yeah, we spent, that's what I said, we spent 1,000 over.
Yeah. So far this year, we only spent. So I have to see what we actually. What did we spend the 13,000 on last year?
Mm-hmm.
And we only spent 1,000 so far.
I don't have my detailed expenditure.
Yeah. So we can check that one too. I'll put a question mark next to that one. So we gotta check the previous one too, Public Works. See what that entails.
Yep.
Uniforms. So I thought uniforms was in the other category. Was that?
Yep, that's for the rental stuff, but there's some things that they don't rent, like Peter's vest or Steve's jacket. And then that also includes boots.
Oh yeah, this is what this one is.
So the boots went from 100 to 300 on the reimbursements. So that increased by 600 just with the three of us. And then if we include 3 more employees, so I'm way underfunding that. But like I said, being a little less conservative. So if we had full staff here, there'd be six at 300 a year.
When do we?
It's 1,800, and we only budgeting 1,000.
We went up to 300 in that.
Yep.
When did we do that?
2 years ago. That was an approval that the town made. And, so that was an approval that happened on the town side, but I brought it to you guys and you all agreed. So I'd have to go back and find the meeting if you want to figure out when you voted
no,
it in.
if it's consistent, yeah, I don't want to be. If that's what's consistent with everyone else's again, then we should stay the same with that. Then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In-state travel.
Left that the same again. Training year, so
Yep.
training and education went up significantly. I believe, did we go way over on that? No, yeah, we're already at 3,400 this year. And that's not including new employees, so.
Training and education. Yeah, I cited about 10 of those invoices in a row that came in. The vouchers.
Yeah.
A lot of them were yours though. Most of them were yours, weren't they?
Yeah,
All
and I did all the
licenses
cheapest
and all-
ones on the
yeah.
licenses that I could do online, and I did 5 of them at the same time. So I did 25 hours of training a day. renewal cycle, so
Okay.
I think that's probably a safe bet there. Out-of-state travel, again, level funded, it's only $100, so. Dues and memberships, it went up. Just based on, again, if we have more employees. The main reason for a lot of the memberships is that with the membership, the discount on the training is a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Usually if you take one class, what you save in the cost of the training pays for the membership themselves, so it's well worth having the memberships for everyone. Otherwise, we gotta go up even more in the training.
So at least we spent $175 so far. Last year we spent 500.
Yeah, I don't know if that's right, because I'm sure you've signed a bunch of those too. And actually, it was right around this time of year, so this probably isn't catching it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that even the thousand's enough to cover the dues and
Actually, no.
memberships.
Actually, 500 right there.
Hmm?
Yeah. I was looking at the wrong one. Okay.
Insurance premiums, I went up by 2,000 because I don't have the numbers yet, and I'm assuming all of our insurance is going to go up some because we've had some significant claims. One being the town hall.
Yeah, we haven't had many claims on our end, right? It's nothing.
I think we did put in a claim once for a lightning strike that took out like $30,000 electronic equipment.
On our end?
Mm.
Oh,
COVID, I'm not funding that stupid crap. Capital went up by 5,000. So I suppose that's one that you could kind of take out of the everyday expense budget. But to be honest, like I said, I think I explained this last time, and I think the Davis Street pump station probably went up a little more than when I got the last price, which was right around 30 grand. So I increased it by 5, but I kept it in the budget item because we've got.
you had it listed for
think.
9,000.
Huh?
So you had it in here 9,000 on the increase.
Where's
Davis Street pump.
Yeah, so that was, I increased it, it went up that much from the 3 or 4 years ago when I said we should buy a spare pump, and
This was in 23. And, let's see. What do we expend on that?
yeah, that's a capital item, we I don't think we expended on that last year.
Nothing on that, no.
And it all depends on,
So we increased it 9,000, so if we just, what other, so we dropped that back down to, we went from 21 to 30, but we never even spent anything.
right, so 21, there was, I forget what it was. I'll have to go back and look at my notes, but, so what I was saying is that I increased it by 5 because I'm guessing the cost of the Davis Street pump station is up closer to 35 than 30 now. That was the reason for the capital price being 30. Because I removed additional capital from previous and increased it by 9 just to cover the cost of the Davis Street pump station. The pump, so
So it's just the pump, not the.
just the pump.
Yeah.
That's one pump. One of the pumps is binding up over there. The impeller's snapped off in one spot, so it keeps catching everything. We don't have a spare over there. If that pump goes down, then we're running on one pump, and that's the schools and everything down Davis Street.
So we didn't pick one up.
I have not got
You
one
did
yet.
get that?
No. So there's Davis Street pump station, but that's just one. We're gonna have, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 10, 12. 12 pumps here. We're gonna have 2 more submersibles on Gilboa Street. We have 2 pumps up at Davis Street. So if you look at all the pumps that we have here and how old a lot of them are, we're gonna be replacing pumps quite a bit over the next few years would be my estimate. So that's why I said I put it in the budget as opposed to a capital, because it's gonna be a recurring cost over the next probably 8 years that we'll be needing to buy pumps.
Mm-hmm.
And
Okay.
we should have spares. We don't have spares for a lot of these pumps. So like I said, if I'm buying a spare pump each year, and then I would assume over the next few years we'll lose a pump here and there, which means I got to replace another spare. So it's going to be an ongoing expense
Yeah.
for quite a while.
So you're gonna buy some out of this budget currently? 'Cause we haven't expended.
That's my intent. Yeah.
We haven't expended anything out of
Right.
that yet. And then the previous year, we didn't spend anything out of that as well.
Right. I don't think I had it as Davis Street pump station the previous year. And I actually think we did buy pumps.
Well, we had 21,000 as capital, and then we had just increased. We put Davis Street pump next
Right.
to
So
it.
we had 21,000 before, but that was for other items. And then I said I need
Another 9,000.
that 21 plus another 9 in order to get the Davis Street. So whatever the 21 was before dropped off, and then we used it for the Davis Street instead. Actually, you know what I think happened? I budgeted 21 because the original price I had for a spare pump was 19 something. I budgeted 21. When I went to order it, the price had gone up significantly. It was like 27 or 28. So then I budgeted 30 because I didn't have the money to buy it the previous year. So I increased it by 9 to get close to what we needed. And then I haven't purchased it yet, so because I had to run the numbers again so what happened is in between those times, that model pump got discontinued, so they had to cross-reference and get the new model that would work under that pump. So
So the pump's that expensive?
oh yeah,
Why is that one so much more than? Well, that's a lot bigger pump though.
that's a huge pump over there.
Sure.
That thing weighs like 600 pounds.
Yeah.
Thing's a monster. We actually bent the crane trying to pull it out. Which is why Steve was saying that we need to budget for a crane truck. But we'll get to that after.
Okay.
So I took out additional equipment we had in their truck before. That's what I have on the note. We also have HVAC replacement needs there under replacement equipment. Again, these are things that we'll discuss in a minute with this stuff, but
Replacement equipment.
so the HVAC stuff just, and I'm gonna kind of go out of order here, but where are we?
What did we expend so far? Nothing.
Probably nothing now.
Okay.
Which on which one? I don't have
Replacement.
anything. I don't think I budgeted anything for either of those.
Replacement equipment?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So I put 45 in there. The 45.
It was 10,408. What was that? That was FY23 spent.
Yeah, that's because Gene classifies things differently than I do. You know, I say it's not replacement. She says it is. I don't know. We go round and round between what's replacement, what's capital, what's.
Yeah.
So I'd have to look at the detailed expenditure as to what that 10,488 was. But the so anyway, the 45 that I put in here for this year's budget, the 25, that's simply for the HVAC things here. So when they came out looking at doing the gas swap over and what we need to do to get everything retrofit. While he was here, he's like, one of your heaters isn't right, and I don't think anything of it, but he smelt it when he was here. Went and checked in the burner box, or whatever you want to call it, on the rooftop unit up here is all rotted out, and you can't replace that section. Plus, we got to switch it over to natural gas, and it's 20-something years old. So that needs to be replaced. The 2 units in the filter room, the Modine style heaters,
Yeah.
one's a 250,000 BTU, one's a 200,000 BTU, and then there's 100,000 BTU in the blower room. Those 3 all need to be replaced. Those are kind of crappy environments, so, but it's not so much that they're dead, it's that those units can't be retrofit to gas. When the gas guys came out, they just said, oh yeah, those are just these, you can replace the
Can't you
nozzles.
change yours?
No, because it's a sealed combustion chamber, so it's not, you can't open it and take parts out and change them. So I actually, this number I based off of the numbers that he gave me for unit cost for each unit, and then figured the labor. So those are off of numbers that I already got. But
How old is these units, the original?
yeah. Those and that rooftop and those 3 Modines are the only heating units that have not been replaced so far. So those are the last of everything in here that's been replaced.
Yeah.
So this unit's been replaced, garage unit's been replaced, that unit's been replaced, the one in that building was replaced, the 2 mini splits down there have been replaced, and the gas one in the little blower room's been replaced. So those are the last 4 units from the original construction here that have not been placed. And that one needs to be replaced regardless because it's rotting out and you can smell it. And he says
Yeah.
that's a hazard, it should be done immediately, but the other 3, those 3, I don't know that they're failing, but now the gas conversion's gonna kind of force us to move forward on those.
Yeah.
Unless you want to move forward with the $3.5 million UV building, and we can
So,
incorporate some kind of heat exchanger in the wastewater.
how about the mini splits? Can you use all of
For
them?
down there,
Yeah.
you know, that's like I said, you've got 550,000 BTUs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you can't do
That's
that.
it.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna work.
That'd be multiple
Yeah.
mini splits.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the mini splits won't work there, and actually, for this unit here, it's probably not feasible. We do have a mini split in there for the control room, but
Mhm.
for the rest of that building, it's probably not feasible. I'd say we could probably do something in the blower room, but then you'd go through the roof on electric and the air conditioning costs, because in the summer, we gotta open everything up
Yeah.
just to get the heat out of that building from the blowers.
Yeah.
And we were trying to look at taking something and potentially coming up like a heat exchanger to go into the blower room and put the heat into the filter room, but it gets a little more expensive because of the gases from the wastewater in the filter room going into the blower room. So it's all fire sealed in between. So we'd have to do some kind of closed loop thing with pumps and fans to take like coils to heat exchange from this and move it to there. So got a little more advanced than we were hoping. So I'll still look and see if I can do something through a grant to do some kind of heat exchanger, but that's not going to be fast enough to do what we need to do to get us out of there. So that's where that number came from. Technically, shouldn't be on the budget, should be outside of the budget, but it's one of those that I don't really have an option for you guys to choose from, so I put it in here.
So how about in this current budget?
I don't have anything under replacement equipment.
I know, but I mean, get towards the end of the, you know where you are. on the-
Yeah, so I get a couple things up in the air, and that's kind of why I hold off on some of the projects that I know I can push off to the next year if I have to. I've got the filters that need to be done. and the SBR control panel. I don't think I have enough to do both, but those two are supposed to get done. So I could hold off on one of those to buy that, but either way, I'm robbing Peter to pay Paul, so it's either budget those next year and this I can do this year, or vice versa. So, I mean, I'll look at it when I get closer to the end, and if I can pull off, like, I'm thinking do a couple of them,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or even order the heaters, and then if I can get through till spring, because we're not too far away, that way if I can have them do it out of season,
Yeah.
then it's a lot easier. Otherwise, I've got to try to get them to repipe everything, and I got to get the gas company here the same day. I got to get you're not doing it now, so I got to get Haas over here the same day. So I got to have everybody here at the same time so that it can get inspected. The gas company will put their meter in. They can connect. They can do the tests and all that. So it's going to get complicated trying to do it in a heating season. So if I can hold off doing the actual installation until after July 1st, you know, that would probably work better logistically.
Yeah.
So I'll see what I can do with that, but I'll try to get some of these ordered under this budget.
So it's that you could take that out of
Repairs and maintenance.
retained earnings. If we can get it out of the budget this year, we'll obviously do that. But if we need to transfer retained earnings,
Well, like I said, there's
depending on how the rest of the budget
repairs and maintenance agreement. You know, I had a lot of money in there that I haven't spent yet.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that, like I said, is the control panel and the filter rehab. So once I have a better idea as to where we stand and what I can get done, I'll know whether I can push some of that number into this year's budget or buy some of these under this,
Okay.
move things around.
Alright.
But I gotta wait to see how far we get and see what I can get for prices and people's schedules.
Okay.
The county retirement, Gene gave me those numbers. I think I added some based on not knowing with new employees. I think the number's up. Yeah, the number's definitely up from this number. It's up from the current year, but I don't think it's up as much as I raised it. I think I raised it a little more just to cover employees.
County retirement.
Yeah. So I have the number between the two departments. It was over 50. But then I raised it, like I said, to cover potential new employees. But I'll dial that number in better with Gene.
Yeah. Okay.
Debt is debt. I don't have control over that. We owe what we owe, so
Yeah.
that number is what came from our debt schedule. Transfer to OPEB, level funded that at the 10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And that is it for the sewer. So I just say I pulled out stuff, and like I said, I did add in the 45. That kind of explains why we were up as high as we were when I pulled stuff out.
Yeah.
I pulled 154. I'm like, how
Yeah.
did I come out with the same number? We're pretty close.
Yeah, 48,000 less.
Yeah,
But we had 154 pull out. But we
that's what I mean. But
yeah.
I put the 45 in, so you
Yeah.
really only had 100 out.
Yeah.
So, and then there was incremental increases, and the Synagro kind of killed us with the 20,000 increase as well.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Okay.
that's the sewer. I'm gonna go grab me another Coke before I get into this.
I'm hoping it's not using it.
down behind me. Alright, we already discussed the salary portion. Increased stipends, the same as the other one. Health insurance, same scenario. Raised it by the 10%, guessing. I don't know what that's gonna be. And I don't know what new employees will offer or not. Health insurance retirees. I'm guessing that number was up previously. Yeah, so we were 400 over in 23 than we were in 20, than what the budget was in 24. And based on being about halfway, we were underfunded the 24 already. Based on that number, that's roughly 3,400. So I think we're underfunded in that. And I'm guessing that's
Which line are we looking at? Which one are we talking
the
about?
health insurance.
Oh, health
So-
insurance.
and those are all things that are out of my control to begin with,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
I'll get those numbers.
Yeah.
I didn't have a reason why I went up on that though. Probably in the notes that got cut off. Alright, electricity on this one I did not raise. Because we don't have any anticipated big jump like we do on the sewer where we've got some additional things that I figured. And I believe we were looking okay budget-wise.
Yeah, it looked like 23, we only spent on electricity, we budgeted.
We spent 31, but the prices
31.
have significantly increased since
Yeah,
23.
what are we at? Yeah,
We had 40 budgeted and I level funded.
so we spent 12, almost 13,000 so far.
Well, that was at the halfway point, so
Yeah.
13, that's 26. And to be honest with you, the electric is a mess. So I would have to double check to see if we've paid what we've been billed.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing with electric is because of the credits we get, Gene, I'm trying to think how we did it. So last year, I think the 23 budget, we waited until, like starting in January, we stopped paying electric bills until almost July to see if we could burn off the credits. This year, I think she had originally told me, don't pay a bunch of them right from July. So we weren't paying a lot of the bills. And if you talk to Lee, she'll tell you, because she gets the annoying collection calls saying they're going to shut us off. But we've tried to get them to stop doing the calls, and they said it's an automatic thing. They can't stop doing it. So.
Yep.
So the electric is a little hard to judge off of what we have here as spent, just because I don't know what's actually been paid and what we have that we should have paid that we didn't pay.
Yeah.
So,
In the previous year, we're at 31,
yeah.
so and like I said, there was an increase in power rates that go up.
Yeah, so I'd rather have a little bit extra there and not use it than
Yeah.
not have enough there. If we don't use it, it just goes back to our retained earnings anyway. Rentals, leases, I left level funded. Maintenance contracts, again, that went up. That's part of the, what do you call it, the backflow testing and the, hold on, no, that's IT and everything.
So how about the heating? Or are we skipping over that? Did you already?
Did we do that? Oh yeah, I skipped it. What else did I skip?
Skipped a few.
I think so.
Non-energy utilities, repair and maintenance.
Heating, I went up 5. I don't even know how I did that. Heating, based on the numbers, would be at about 3,600. I mean 6,600. Because we spent 33. Like I said, we're about halfway through the year on that number.
66. That's pretty close to
Mm.
non-energy utilities.
Non-energy utilities.
What's a non-energy utility?
I want to say that's the backfill. Let me double check. Yeah, figures. We don't have a breakdown of that one. I'm drawing a blank.
I never even seen the line.
Hmm?
That's gonna be a new line item.
I think we had it before.
Under other utilities, there's no non-energy utilities. We had other utilities. 52,300? Yeah. It's under other utilities, previous years.
Say that again?
Oh, actually, it's
Yeah.
non-energy utilities. In 23, it was called other utilities.
52.3.
In 24, it was called non-energy.
Yeah, I don't have a description of it.
Yeah.
You said it was called other
Just,
utility?
yeah, other utilities.
So,
In 23.
no, you don't have to detail that.
Not with this one, no.
So if you have the detail, we can see what was charged to
I
that.
didn't bring that one.
You get nothing with that one. I'll check with Jean as to what she's putting there.
Yeah, we had budget, in 23, we put 2,500, but we expended 3,200. So we were short
For
$1,800.
some reason, I'm thinking that's the backflow stuff. But I remember it was something stupid, and I'm like, why do you classify that as that?
So whatever it was, I know in 23 it says we expended $3,200.
Yeah, that sounds about like the number for backflow testing. But... There we go. Yep, cross connection. Told you. That's the cross connection stuff.
Cross connection?
Yep. Which, like I said, I don't know how that comes in as a utility, but
Yeah, how was that? So that should be higher then? Should that be 3,500? If we expended,
so I put 3,000 because again, that's additional testing is going to be done.
we expended $3,255 and
Oh, yeah, then I'm under budgeted here.
unless that was just something for a reason for that particular year that we spent a lot of money on that. What did we expend so far?
Which year are you looking at? We spent it on.
23.
Yeah. That number's gonna go up.
So,
We'll end up spending more than we did that year.
so we're at 12. We spent $1,260 so far this year.
Yeah, and we haven't done the spring round yet. And that 1260 doesn't include, he's been out here since then. So, I'll look for an updated number on that as to what we've spent year to date, because I think we're way behind there.
Probably make it 3,500.
That would probably be a safer bet.
Make that up 1,000. Repair and maintenance, 40,000.
$24 the previous year, we're halfway at 12, so 24. That one I'm gonna have to look at. That may be able to come down a little on the water side.
Yeah, we were. Typically it was 40. But we bumped it up to make it 75. We needed that for. Why did we bump that up to make it 75?
Well, rehab. We did the well rehabs.
So 30,000 is normally what we had budgeted.
I have to look at
Yeah.
this list from. Do you have this list from the last year?
Previous.
So it should have that listed. So it'd be the 5204 number.
52.4, 53.04. No. Special. So,
Yeah, right here, repairs and maintenance. That's water. Yeah, so it's this one here. So well rehab, and then the fence repairs. That went up 45. We didn't raise it by an additional 75, did we?
yeah, we had it. In 23, we went up to 75,000. And we didn't expect, we only spent half of it.
So what was on that list for 23?
On the repairs and maintenance. Was it over this
Yeah,
one?
so it was 45 here.
Or is this the sewer?
That's the sewer.
Oh.
This one's the water. So we must have had something else that we were planning on doing. But the wells. got carried to 24, that's why we didn't spend that 40,000. Cause I couldn't get them scheduled to do it,
Mm-hmm.
so we did this. Oh no, we took that money and encumbered it. That's why it didn't get spent on that number, it got switched to the encumbrance portion of the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look on the expenditure report, there's a 40,000.
Encumbrance?
Yep. Trying to think what else was on there that went into the encumbrance. I just went over the encumbrance stuff with Gene.
So that would have been,
Yeah, it's like halfway through the expenditures part.
yeah, so 24.
Repairs and maintenance, was that,
It's $12,892 was encumbered. That was in 23. 24, I don't know what the encumbrances was.
yeah, I would say double check that.
Huh?
I would double check that. You're looking over there, but if you go through the expenditure, there's a different line item that covers the encumbrances.
Yeah, that's what this was right here. It just says encumbrances.
Right, keep going through that expenditure report. There's some bigger numbers where it says encumbrance.
Water encumbrances, repair and maintenance.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's the number there? Is there a 40,000?
Year to date, there is a 40,000.
So
then
that
we-
was what got
Year-to-date
encumbered out of
expended-
that.
Year-to-date expended was 23 month to date, and then encumbrance is 16.
16,116.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's been done too. So all that's been expended now.
Okay.
There's a few $100 left that will go back into retained earnings.
Yeah. So what are we looking at for a number on this then? Where do we need to sit on that?
So, like I said, that's one I got to go back and revisit because I didn't pull out additional numbers that we have in.
Mm-hmm.
All the wells have been rehabbed. Everything looked good there. The well guy actually thought it was insane that we went almost 30 years with not
Yeah,
pulling
we-
and repairing a pump. And when he
Yeah.
looked at the screens and everything, they all look like in great condition. He says he does wells annually at some places that look 10 times worse than ours did after 30 years. But we replaced the pumps and all the stuff in them. You know, we got 30 years out of them. Can't complain about that. It was like $9,000 to replace the pumps and all the parts. So well worth what we did there.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give us the assurance of moving forward. So I'll look at that number a little more, but we'll also be looking at it when we get to some of this stuff.
Yeah.
Those numbers will make you cry. All right, so we'll skip that. Like I said, I'll come back to that in a minute. Rentals and lease, left that the same. Maintenance contracts, that's I'm blanking over which one it is. Okay, so that went up on the water side. Those are the monitoring equipment. So those are the contracts we have for the stuff that controls the pumps
Mm-hmm.
and monitors and does the alarm systems for all the pump stations and everything. So we added another unit to the Church Street tank. It actually hasn't been installed yet, but we have it. Been having a hard time getting the electrician out to get that squared away. So between the tank and the well, the booster station and the Church Street tank, the software to make those two communicate and control everything,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to increase on that line item.
I'm looking, previous 23, we only expended 1750. We had budgeted 4050. We expended 1750.
Yeah, I'm thinking that in 23, they didn't get charged to the right line item.
And 24,
Because Gene was explaining the difference between what needed to go in there and what was going under, may have been professional and technical, or, yeah, I know we were originally listing it under something else.
What's it called? Repair and maintenance.
Those come in at one time during the year.
Yeah.
I know it says only 275 so far, but that's not even one of the services, so.
Maintenance contract, 275, yeah.
So I wanna say it's $660 per unit, and then there's an additional cost if we had to add a card. So we have an additional card at Glen and Primary, I believe. So we got Glen, Primary, Turbine, Booster, Franklin Street Tank, and there's one at Church Street Tank now. So that'll be 6 at $660 each. Plus the additional cards. There's 2 of them have additional cards. And there's a tank and well package that ties the tank and the wells all together, which is a service more than a unit. So I can have Lee run that number tomorrow, because I know we've submitted additional invoices on that. That's way above the 275.
Yeah, so just check that, double check that number.
Yep.
Professional and technical.
So this is the lab testing. This year we got triggered for the UCMR testing, so we're required to do that by federal law. And the additional PFAS testing. That's again, we've got 3 wells, well 4 wells, that we have to do sampling on, and the samples are, like I said, roughly $600 to $700 a piece,
Mm-hmm.
plus a trip blank. So that's additional testing that was more recently required, and then under the UCMR testing, there's another 29 PFAS elements, I think, that they're gonna test for, in addition to a whole battery of additional tests. Nobody's talking about the other ones as much as they are the PFAS, so.
So what are we using, 23, professional technical. So we only expended
10,000.
10,000.
I can tell you that in 23 we weren't even doing PFAS testing yet. Actually, I got a grant to do the PFAS testing through UMass Consortium.
So we had increased that budget line item at the time. We increased that for some sewer cammering and jetting. That 25,000.
Well, not on this part, because this is water. So on the sewer side, we had increased it, saying that every year we're gonna do about $10,000 worth of camera and jetting.
Why did you have this on the? Must be a typo. There.
Yeah, probably.
But this is on the water. Includes some sewer camera and jetting.
Yeah, I probably just put the note in the wrong spot on that one.
Okay.
So, like I said, this one we're required to do the UCMR testing.
Yeah.
with the additional PFAS testing, so.
Let's see if I did it or
And in 23, we got a grant to do a lot of that testing, because it was an initial round. Good there, or you wanna look at more things?
not. Okay. As long as you think that, unless you can reduce that number, well, if you think we're gonna need it, then.
And advertising, same as the sewer side. Engineering, same as the sewer side. Contractual services, that was level funded. That's the IT stuff. Police details, 3,000. I raised it by 1,500. Where was my train of thought there? I think it's likely because we should be doing a bunch of valve exercising this year. If we get the occupancy permit for over here, so we can get the valve exercising trailer purchased, we'll be out in the middle of the road doing a ton of exercising with that. I assume we'll have to have details, especially doing Main Street, because we haven't done any of those valves since the year I got whacked in the elbow by that car that went by. So all of Main Street, those have the 16-inch valves.
Yeah.
Takes 50 turns to turn them, so being on Main Street is not really a good option to
Yeah.
try to do it without a detail. So. And one day of details is like $800. So
Okay. Can we do that at night?
we can try to do it. The only problem is that trailer is going to be somewhat loud. So again, with houses and everything right on Main Street, you're making a lot of noise. You know, when we do flushing, it doesn't make a lot of noise. There's nothing
Yeah.
running other than the pickup truck, which is normal noise. With the trailer running, it might be a little louder. So I think that's why I was anticipating doing it during the day. Physical, same reason as the sewer went up. Training and conferences, again, same reason as the other. Telephone. What did we spend? Oh, that's why. Because we were over on phone
We spend
in
930.
23, and we're already at 900 halfway through the year, so
Okay.
that explains why I increased it. Postage, same reason we're reducing that one as the previous on the sewer. Printing and mailing, kept that the same.
Cellular, same thing.
Yep.
Add another phone.
Yeah,
Or replace
like I
phone.
said, both of them have phones that are gonna crap out.
Same
Internet
thing.
service, that price went up significantly. Like I said, I don't know if I got enough there. Yeah, I mean, we're already at 800 halfway, 1,600, so.
Yeah.
So we'll keep that there. Licenses and subscriptions. Halfway through the year, we're at 1825. So that's why I went up on that one.
There's still more licenses to get.
So the licenses and subscriptions, that's not,
Not the work licenses, but
Right.
other licenses for
this is,
software licenses
Yeah.
and things like that, yeah. Okay.
other services, I left that level funded. I would have said go up because it's UniFirst and that, but, I don't think we expended.
We increased it from, it was 2,000. We increased it to 10.
So is that on?
8,000 was for UniFirst and Renault.
Renaud, yeah.
Renault.
So that was probably anticipation on some generator hookups. Can I have that listed on this? And your other one.
There you go.
Keep losing that
Right
page.
there. This one?
Yep. No. So I think, like I said, there was gonna be a significant expenditure getting the generator hooked up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I budgeted additional there for that. I've got it highlighted here for some reason.
8,000. What have we spent? We've spent $550 out of it.
Yeah. So I'm not sure. We've had Renaud out a few times. I think it was after this we came up with the 551 number. And then I also managed to get a portion of that covered. We charged it to the encumbrance account on the generator because there was money left in that account.
Okay.
Because it was hooking up the generator, I tied it to that project, so that kind of ate up some of that encumbered money
Mhm.
and left money available there.
So we could reduce that then, right?
Probably. Let me check what it says we use it. Sewer
53.
one. Yeah, she's got that one. The Cinegra listed on there. That's not on the water side. Uniforms.
I had UniFirst in here. UniFirst and Renault is what the
Yeah.
increase was for.
So like I said, the Renaud, I knew it was going to be several $1,000s to do the wiring, and I slipped in most of that under the. I know it's up more than the 575,
Mm-hmm.
so that is a potential one that I can reduce. Although I still do have Renaud that needs to set up the mission system for the tank at Church Street. That'll be a few grand, so that'll eat that up, but I shouldn't need to carry that again for the next one. Oh, so there was also, we had them, because it switched people that were working, everything kind of got pushed out and they haven't completed some of the work that we had them doing.
Mm-hmm.
One was the panic buttons at the water stations. So that if you open the door and chemical line sprung a leak or something, a lot of times you can't get to the controls if it's spraying at you and the chemicals, you can't get that in your eyes because you'll be in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to put panic buttons. We have them at some of the spots down here that we need them, but we tie them in, you hit the button, it shuts all the chemical pumps and everything down, and it calls out the alarm to let someone know that just because you're out in remote areas that
Yeah.
nobody sees you, and if you're out there by yourself on a weekend or whatever, nobody's going to know until Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to put those in so that you could hit the disconnect,
Yeah.
shut things down, and deal with it, and it would send out an alarm so people would know. So that was part of that too, but again, I don't know if they're even gonna get that finished this year, so. But because I tied in the generator money to the encumbrance,
Yeah.
that has money there to complete that work, so. Hopefully I'll get them to do it before the end of this year, or at least give me a contract to encumber that money, so I shouldn't have to have it as high for this coming year. So put that down as a potential reduction.
Okay. Office supplies.
Office supplies, we left.
Equipment repairs.
So we're over by 5,023. Only at 1,400 right now. So some of the bigger repairs and stuff we put in under the capital things there, the
Mhm.
encumbrance with the 40,000. And,
Yeah.
check what else. There's some things that I haven't scheduled yet under, if you look under this list. That should have stuff on here, I believe.
So that's the old one.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to look at.
Oh, okay.
I remember this. Which is weird, because I would have thought building and equipment would have been some of these things. That's where. Yeah, I've got the wrong line under here, because I've got, under repairs and maintenance agreement, I got the building repairs at primary. So I'll see where we stand on that as well. Again, there's a bunch of stuff over here,
Yeah.
which again, I still probably have some of these GL numbers in the wrong spot.
Okay. Custodial.
Custodial, vehicular explained on the sewer side. Gasoline, again, that was way up, so.
On the water side too?
I believe so. Yeah, no, not as much. Well, I don't know where we stand right now, but
That doesn't make sense. I think that Steve's out more on.
yeah, like I said, but
More on the other vehicle.
yeah, well, we kind of consider the 250 the sewer truck, so that usually gets charged to the sewer account.
Okay.
And that's the one that I'm driving around with all the time. We got the lift gate, and it's got the plow that we do the majority of the plowing with.
Yeah. So it means that 1,400 is expended.
Yeah, that's halfway through the year, so I'm not sure that that's accurate either.
Yeah.
And we have no idea what gas price is going to be. At most, it's going to be $500 on a $1.8 million budget. I'll check what I'm saying. Food and service, food and food service, level funded. Medical supply, level funded. Some public works supply. We're already at 44,000 out of 55,000. With the increase, I increased it for additional radios. With the construction going on, we're putting in more of the radios. The meter pits, we purchased one last year and that one already went in, so we don't have one in stock in case somebody else is gonna put one in. We already have one that should have one that they put the line in without us inspecting, so we still have to have a discussion with them over that one. So we should have a meter pit, so the meter pits were over 1,000. I want to say it was almost $1,500. Those are all, well, a lot of these are items that, like I said, we purchase, but we bill them out.
Yeah. So, we put on here Neptune's.
Yeah, Neptune, I put that just so we wouldn't forget to have that discussion. We had them in there to do that demonstration
Yeah.
or the show. I didn't know which way you guys want to go. I mean, we've got to buy more meters. We're running low, but I was holding off to see what you guys thought, if you wanted to start switching towards the Neptune or if you want to continue with the census stuff.
So my initial thought, originally was might be a bad idea, but let me get that asset management plan at the last meeting, which is I'm thinking, do we really need?
Well, the asset management was the sewer side.
Yeah.
We're just starting to do the asset management on the water side. So.
Right. So I'm thinking we added that line on the sewer side, and then there was some other things on the water side. So I'm thinking, I don't know if it was,
Well, we need to replace the meters regardless.
yeah.
It's a matter of, do we do it with Neptune or do we do it with census?
Right, but I don't think there was, we were supposed to get us a sheet on where we were, percentage wise, like on years, so if we knew how long they were.
Oh, yeah. I think we printed that out. I don't know if it's in any of this stuff.
I haven't seen it. Just
So-
so we knew, so we get an idea where that's gonna come in, or how much money that's gonna cost, it's gonna be, is it more the first 5 years, or is it the second 5 years, or is that, I mean, where are we sitting on
It
that?
was about 7, 8 years ago that we started doing, we did a big chunk of them. So there was about 50% done before that, which are all the ones that are starting to come up that need to be replaced. And then there's in another 3 or 4 years we'll be hitting areas that we got to start ramping up on changing out. I think I had explained at one point that we would try to shift some. Actually, I know Lee came up with that list because we'd said, all right, well these will be around this time, but we'll spread some of them out a little bit further and try to span it out so that it's more consistent, so that you're on a consistent turnover.
And then the other discussion on that a little bit, which was around those, it's in parallel. And now you're doing billing in parallel, and that is, it's a matter about munis,
Yeah.
how well they work, can be done.
So it's really not so much the billing in parallel, you say that, but it's reading in parallel. So you're reading a portion with a census gun and a portion with a Neptune. But I do believe he said that it depends on which census units you have. Census kind of stiffed us because they went with a 2-wire, and when you guys bought it, they sold you the wire to go with it. So when you replaced a bunch of them, you put their wire in, which is not compatible with any of the other meter manufacturers. So it's not like you can just go in and swap the meter out real quick now. It's now you swap the meter and rerun wire. If they were smart back then, they would have put the 3-wire wire in, because then you could just use 2 out of the 3 wires and still use the census. But if you needed to switch, you would have been able to switch meters and go with a different brand meter without rewiring everything. So Steve's been swapping out wires when he goes into a house to do a meter change. He swaps it out and puts 3-wire in if it's an easy run. But if it's a finished basement, he's not taking the time to try to do that.
Yeah.
Neptune does have an adapter. It costs a little more money, but you can get an adapter to go to it's a 3-wire converter. So they take the 2-wire and convert it to a 3-wire signal. But again, that adds a little bit to the cost.
Yeah.
So,
So long story short, I'm not sure where I am in that meter, the thought process on that. I think there was still, for me, there was still a lot of unanswered questions on that.
right, so
Right.
regardless,
Yeah,
we got a budget to have meters to change.
yeah.
So we'll have that number in there, but
It may not be. It'll
I just
depend
wanna-
on which way we're going.
I just think we should probably say we'll add the Neptune to the agenda,
Mm-hmm.
just so that we don't keep blowing
Yeah.
it off.
Yeah,
I just want to keep it fresh so we can get whatever information we need and make a decision.
mm-hmm.
I mean, we already are going with all Neptune meters for the bigger meters.
Yeah,
So everywhere that has a larger meter, when we swap them out, they're going to a Neptune.
yeah.
And that was regardless of whether we stick with census
Yeah.
for the regular
Yeah,
residential
okay.
ones, just because they're more accurate and a little less expensive than the census.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a better meter, more accurate, and less cost to our customers. So.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that. I mean, to me, a meter is a meter, but I just want to make sure that we're not, pigeonhole ourselves on the billing or the run of the apparel and everything.
Yeah, so the billing, I
We
mean,
get
like I
to
said,
those
we've
guys.
already got Neptune in the billing that we're tying in a little bigger meters.
Yeah. And everybody's pissed off because this isn't working and that's not. Then
Yeah. Well, I got to talk to Steve because Lee told me that he wasn't too happy today. Some of the reading equipment for the census isn't working, which gets me a little nervous because it takes forever to get census to do anything. So, trying to get radios, I think we waited over a year to get some of the radios we ordered, or the meters that we ordered a year and a half ago or whatever. And then I keep saying 2001, but it was 2021 we ordered some of the radios that I just got like last month from 2021. So
Yeah.
talking 3 years later, just to get some of the parts. And when we asked it, like, oh well, we don't sell a lot of those, so we're focusing on the stuff that they sell a lot of. I'm like, well, that doesn't do me any good.
Yeah. Public Works, so I'm gonna go back on that Public Works, so 55, what do we spend on Public Works?
Well, we're already at 44 this year,
And
and that was halfway through the year. We spent 50,800 the year before.
yeah. And what's the bulk of that? What is the bulk of that money on?
I'd have to look at the
Public
detailed
Works.
expenditure, but radios, meters, fittings, so curb stops, all the brass.
Mhm.
The brass prices went through the roof, and again, they're taking forever to come in. Took almost a year to get some of the stuff that we did order. Some of it I think we just paid this week that I ordered in June of last year. So,
Okay.
but all that stuff went through the roof. The prices went way up on everything on that. It's kind of a snowball. You couldn't get stuff, so that drove the price up. So then all the places that have money and usually do big supplies, they ordered way more
Mhm.
to make sure they had supplies, which caused the demand to go up, which just drove the price up more. So it was just a complete mess.
So you wanna look at that number, or is,
The 70,
yeah,
I think it's a good number, but
do you?
I can go
Just
through
double
more.
check it, yeah, just double check it. Other supplies.
Oh, the other supplies, I went up 15 because I've got to replace the PRV, so that's why I highlighted it here. You probably don't have the highlighted version. It went up 15 because of the PRV. So we have two PRVs. They're about 15 grand a piece to do them. I only put one in. We need to do both. Both of them are quite old and don't really function correctly, which is, I think, what caused one of the main breaks on Main Street, and probably the break on West Street that one time. So it's about 15 grand a piece. We'll do one this year. I didn't put both in this year because we should do both, but the one on Main Street would get replaced if we do the Main Street project. I don't really see us moving forward with that anytime quickly, but I will hold off just to see what it looks like they're going to do with the highway farm. So if that project does go forward, I'd rather just do it at that time when they do the that project. If that project doesn't move forward, then I'll have to do the other one, or I'll budget the other one next year. But that's the reason for the increase, or at least part of the reason. The year before we spent 37. We budgeted 25. This year we're already at 14,000, and we're only halfway through on that.
So we encumbered, that's what I was looking at. So it was $11,000 encumbrance on that, 11,200.
11,200 on other supply.
Yeah.
Let me think what 11,200 would be.
That was,
Let me see what we got listed here. Just went through all these encumbrances too. Master. Yeah, I'd have to look at the encumbrance. Do you have the encumbrance right there?
I don't see I see one for 11,000, but I don't see.
Under other supplies.
Yeah, I don't see the other supplies. And the encumbrances. That's not the same. There's 11. It's close to 11, but that's under capital, I think, isn't it?
Yeah,
So I don't know where that's coming from.
but Gene likes to move things around on me. Yeah, right here. Other supplies 11.
Yeah.
Which is that same number, right?
Nope.
Number. Other supplies 25,000. Potentially the generator, primary, should have been 111. Let me see if I can find it. A couple of seconds real quick. Unfortunately, I just went through the encumbrances, so I don't know what I did with it. That was a brass supply, brass order.
The 11,273.
Yeah. Some other supplies. Brass. This was the estimate. We spent that much because some of it came in encumbered.
Yeah.
This was out of encumbrance.
Yeah.
but We spent.
Okay. So we're gonna,
So that wasn't a special order. That was regular
Just-
supplies that we had ordered. Like I said, the brass
Just
stuff was
waiting to
taking a
come in.
year to come in. So
yeah. So we were at,
yeah, we were way over in 23, and we're on target to be over in
okay.
24.
And you need a PRV too as well?
Yeah, the PRV is going to be 15 grand. So I actually need 2 PRVs, but like I said,
Yeah.
I'll do one.
Uniforms,
And again, that doubled because we're hopefully doubling our workforce. In-state travel was the same. Training I increased based on potentially hiring people that need more training. See where you at now?
I'm just looking, I mean, it wasn't a big dollar number, I'm just curious on the uniforms where we were at. In 23, we had, what we had spent. We spent 550 roughly.
Yeah, that doesn't sound right to me, but
Where are we at? We only spent 300 year to date.
which would be 600.
You were putting, you went from 9 to 18.
Based on current 3 employees, we hire 3 more, the uniforms are going to double.
Yeah, so that's 1,200, right?
Well, you're basing it on a number of 296, and
Yeah, you said halfway through the
I'd
year.
have to see what she has in there for it.
Okay. And I'm just looking at the previous one, it was, the previous year
546.
was 546. So it just looked to me it was a little high, based on historical data anyway, what I'm looking at, and so.
Yeah, I'd have to see when that contract's up too, because I'll explain how the contract thing worked, but we pay a lot less than Highway does for some reason.
Training, 5,000.
Yeah, so again, that was, I'm just being on the cautious side if we hire 3 employees, if we can't get licensed employees, we're gonna have to pay to get them trained, and
Mm-hmm.
just one class on the water side's probably 1,500. That's only for one of the 2 licenses you need on the water side. You have to take that course before you're even eligible to sit for the test. It was a new rule they came out with back a few years, so.
All right. Well, we can leave that in then, just if we need to readjust.
Yeah, and again, if we don't spend it, it goes back into the
Yeah.
retained earnings. So. Insurance premiums, I have not got those from the town hall yet.
Yeah.
I estimated up a little. Once I get the actual numbers, I'll readjust that to whatever it actually is.
What was the, what did we skip on the capital?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what. We haven't even spent any this year, so. To go back and look.
What did we spend on, we spent 25,000. Oh, we encumbered 25,000.
Oh, that's a generator.
23.
That was a generator for primary.
Okay. So we had 40 budgeted. So maybe we could look at that and
Yeah, that number's gonna.
come into play with some of this other stuff.
Yeah. That number's gonna.
So put a question on that, and then
Yep.
same with the other. There's 2 other ones in there.
Yep.
Other services and building equipment repairs. So I'll add this one to that. Pull truck. Okay. All right, that's pretty much on that, right? So now we got. I don't know how much time we already been. We're a little over 2.5 hours. I don't know if you want to go too much.
It's up to you, but
Well, yeah.
I mean, you can take that list home if you want and look at it more, but we should probably skim through it quickly anyway.
Yeah, let me go just get
Just at least so I can get it in your head as to why.
Yeah.
And you can think about it, and we can go through this all again when we have a full board. Alright, so we'll just go through the whole list, because altogether there's a few $1 million here. So tree removal at Mobile, we got several trees that came down over this winter, but there's all those pine trees that as you're driving in the driveway, it's all
Yeah.
those big pines.
Yeah.
Half of them will either take out our electricity, the fence, or the building. A lot of them don't look good, so I think I had it in here twice, so half water, half sewer, so I put 6,000
Mm-hmm.
total. That may not be enough. I think it's roughly 2,000 a day for whoever the company is that Adam uses for tree removal. I mean, we can get prices outside there if we have to, but
Mhm.
it's roughly 2,000 a day, and I figure there's probably at least 3 days work there between all those ones coming down the driveway, and then like there's a couple near the building.
There are a couple. I always look at those ones near the garage.
Yeah,
Yeah. Inside, that one.
Yeah.
That one's definitely gonna be one of the first ones.
yeah, because anywhere it goes, it's taking something out.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured about 3 days worth of work over there. I don't know if you've been over there recently, but we had the brush hog guy go in there and clean everything up. Well, on the back side behind where the hydrant rack is, a giant tree came down, took out most of that back fence. So that's why there's the next line item is fence repairs. So one tree came down, took out the majority near the hydrant fence, hydrant rack. Then if you go further over to the left, another tree came down, took out more of the fence. Then our telephone lines, the telephone pole came down, and right behind where that pole that came down,
Mhm.
there's a giant tree that came down there too. So we've had a lot of trees come down, and like I said, there's a lot of trees that need to come down before they come down and do more damage. So
Is fence something insurance can cover? No, or is it not worth putting in?
our deductible went up. So to put in the claim, I know Matt was talking about going to a $50,000 deductible. I don't know if he did that or not. So I'll check what the deductible will be, but we've lost, for several years we've lost a lot of fences
Mm.
due to trees. This year we cut a lot up at Mobile. We did Mobile and we did Primary.
It's usually the pines too, Ponderosa.
Yeah, they weren't pines over. There was a pine, but there was hardwoods that came down at Mobile.
Was it?
Yeah, there's that one when you go in behind the pipe rack was a huge tree that came down. There was actually two of them. One was pine, one was hardwood.
I'll have to check it out.
Anyway, that's why we need to do some tree removal.
Mm-hmm.
I figured we're probably going to budget at least a day every year.
Yeah.
We still have here we got to do. We've got turbine we got to do.
Mm-hmm.
We had some taken down a turbine through National Grid, but we got more that they didn't take. We've lost power over there twice, I think, because of trees coming down. Fence repairs, like I said, there's some over at Mobile. Actually, I don't even think that's there should be more money for fence repairs at Mobile, yeah. That's down further, but we also had more trees come down here.
Mm-hmm.
So last year we had one over here, one down back, now one down back, and two more from that corner. So they took out all the fence there.
Oh, good.
So we got more tree removal that we need to do down here, and more fence repairs. Let's see, the office building siding, you know about that. You've wanted that done for years, and each year we haven't got to it yet. Fire alarm panel, the one down here we're having a fault with over in this building, so we tried repairing it before. I think we had them come in 3 different times. They'd fix certain things, but it still didn't fix the problem. I want to say that in a 3-year period, we probably spent close to $30,000, so we've held off that. But budget another $25,000 to try to finally get that resolved. Filter rehabs. Engineers estimated a higher cost than we did. Like I said, that's still in the budget this year. We have 2 of them to do. This is a cost per each one. I'm going to still try to get one done this year if I can at least get the proposal in. Whether they can get the work done or not before July, I don't know. If I can get a contract in place and signed, even if it carries over to next year, we'll encumber it. If not, that money could go towards the heating, and I could push off the rehab of the first one till summer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, SBR control panel, that, again, that's still in the budget right now. That company has been slacking like crazy. Unfortunately, they're the only ones that can do it, because they're the manufacturers of this treatment plant, and there's all proprietary stuff in there that if we had somebody else buy us the parts, they'd have to go through them to get the programming done, which they'd probably charge us the same for the programming as they do for the whole thing. So a good amount of that is in programming, so. I should be able to get them to finalize that this year, but again, that's going to hinge on what projects take priority to get done this year or next. Sewer repairs, I think I've said this the last couple of years, that we'll budget a certain amount of money to get some done each year. I shifted over the 2 sewer lining projects. One of them we should definitely do, C Street. We should do the length of C Street for our lining. There's some sewer repairs that need to be done up on North Street. Hopefully that project goes forward and those will get covered under that contract. If not, we're gonna have to do something up there.
Sewer repairs?
Yeah.
What's up on North Street?
There's a couple services that come in that is just gushing water in from around that, so it's a lot of I&I that we get that comes down here that we shouldn't be treating, so every time we get heavy rains we get inundated down here, and
Yeah.
there's some key ones up there that we can take care of that would alleviate some of that. We did one this last year over here on Gilboa Street. That was just an open pipe that was coming in. We repaired that before we paved. So that took care of some of that. We had a ton of water coming in from the pipe that connected between the new sewer manhole and the existing pump station in Gilboa until they finished the conversion. That was coming in so fast that we couldn't keep up with it over there, so we had a pump truck over there pumping it and running it over here. I'm going to back charge that to the contractor because they were supposed to be done at the end of December. Here we are more than the middle of February and they still don't have stuff done over there. So there's constant emails going back and forth over that stuff, but I'll deal with that. So like I said, the sewer lining, there's a lot of corrosion and pitting on the pipe on C Street. Out of the inspections that we did, that was probably the worst pipe that we saw, overall for the full length of the pipe. All the other areas were kind of spots that, around a service or around where a manhole connects to the pipes, just small spot sections as opposed to a full length. I'm assuming once we do some more camera work, we'll identify some more areas that need some work. Somewhere in there I had chemical root treatment. Right over here on the other side of the river where the siphon starts, there was a lot of root intrusion there. We chopped the crap out of it manually, getting as much as we could, but if we don't chemically treat it, the roots are just going to keep growing back in. So we'll have to do some work over there. Pistogrit repairs. There's a seal in the bottom of the Pistogrit unit that needs to be replaced, but it's a big unit that you got to bring a crane in to pull it out and redo. Estimating about 25 grand. If you go to the bottom, it's actually the very last thing on there. The engineers recommended replacing that whole unit at about 800 grand. So I'm looking at trying to do it with 25 to potentially repair that one and get several more years out of it, hopefully. So chemical treat roots, we already went over that. Blower stage replacement. We put 33 in the engineer's report. They had that in there as well. We had already kind of anticipated trying to do this, but there's 3 blowers. I think they had replacing them all originally. I told them that I would rather space it out so that we don't have the same hours on them, so that we're replacing them all at the same time. So if we do one a year or one every other year to get us through a few years, but they are kind of at their life expectancy. So we should replace at least one this year. So there's that cost. There's 3 for the SBRs, and then there's 2 for the digesters and 1 for the post EQ. So, like I said, if we stagger them, maybe do an SBR and a digester, and then skip, and then do another SBR, then skip and do a digester, and then post EQ. Let's see. Precast stairs, I put question marks there. You guys thought their estimated number of 11 or 12,000 was quite high for those stairs. I don't know if you did put any more thought into that.
I haven't.
But we'll look into something for that.
I'll have to go over and take a look at it. Exactly.
Yeah,
what
I
it
can
is.
You can come down during the day, I'll
Yeah.
walk you through them. It's really not a whole lot. The grip box at Headworks, we've needed that for a few years. We've gotten by for a few years with an old truck toolbox that we kind of Mickey Moused into making it work for a little while. Replacement of the stainless air filter silencer intakes. Engineers got it at 81,000. I don't know if it's quite that much. It is a significant job because it's, I don't know, 20 something feet up in the air.
So these projects are all identified in the asset?
Not all of them,
No.
some of them, yeah. And like I said, it's like the Vistagrit, I put in to repair what we got for now. They've got it in as replaced for 800,000.
Yeah.
The silencers, I took their number. We had planned on doing that prior to their study. I don't know that we were up to 81, but it was probably still in the 40s when we looked at it. So skip down some. The sewer pipelining, sewer repairs, treatment plant work. What did I do that I came up with 200,000 there? Probably some of it in that list from the engineers.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go through that. Capital, we need another vehicle. Davis Street is on here still, but potentially I'll purchase that before this year runs out. Should put 24 there. So then we also need a spare sludge decant pump, spare post EQ pump, and we got 2 of the sludge decant pumps. We got 3 of the post EQ pumps. We got 3 of the waste pumps. The half of a portable genset, I took that one off. Hopefully we're going to get that taken care of through the contractor agreement that we have, which is, if you go down further, there's the 4 items,
Mm-hmm.
that total 300. They're on our list. We had them there last year, but those are all things that should be covered under the contractor agreement. We can, once they get their occupancy, we should be able to move forward on that. Hopefully 300 is enough because all the prices went up since we actually priced this originally. Let's see. All the spare pumps we know about. That's not all of them, that was just some of them. Tree removal, mobile we already talked about. PRV replacements, like I said, we need 2 of them. I only put in 1 for this year's budget. Building repairs at primary. We get there's a lot of masonry work. Some of the masonry around where the chemical fill area is kind of eroding. The doors definitely need to be rehabbed. A lot of the paint is chipped off and showing wood. Trim, I think you noticed up the, what do you call it, the soffit, or it's around the top where the roof comes down, that fascia board.
Oh, yeah.
Some of that needs to be replaced. Fences at the mobile, tree damage. That was separate from the tree damage fence down here. We also have the fence up at Colonial that needs to be repaired. Water, miscellaneous water projects, tank rehab bidding. So that was, I put 150 for engineering. If we have them put it out to bid, I'll look at that a little further, but that's a ballpark number. Like I said, we had put 100,000 to rehab the tank. We have that money sitting there. It's already set aside. 50 was from us, 50 was from the town. But then the engineers came in, giving me a number higher than that to do the engineering to put it out to bid. But I still think it should be, the project itself should be under 100,000. So I gotta come up with a resolution on that. I'll let you know. Hopefully prior to finalizing this budget.
Mm-hmm.
So the next 4 items, like I said, those are in the contractor agreement. The other vehicle, so I guess we need to discuss vehicles and how you guys want to approach vehicles. I think that we should get something small. I've tried bringing it up a couple times. I haven't got too far with Matt yet, but we typically have too much going on and not enough time to discuss everything. So I keep throwing it out there as to potentially looking at the green communities or something along that line to see if we can get some kind of grant money, whether we go with an electric vehicle. I know there's more incentives now out there. There's more incentives towards getting an electric vehicle, so there might be grant money available. And then there's more incentives for putting in like a charging station. So if we were to get an electric vehicle, we may be able to get them to put a charging station as well. I'll try to investigate that a little bit. I know in previous years you guys were kind of against the electric vehicles.
Still, probably haven't changed too much my opinion on it, but
Yeah, me either. But just the
when you gotta replace a battery in them, they cost, $16,000 to change a battery.
yeah, let's get rid of the car at that point. But if I can get it through a grant, I can get a lot of money towards a vehicle through a grant, I would say go that way. But the other vehicle was more of a truck up here, so that would be a pickup truck. I haven't got prices on them yet. I'm kind of estimating off of what the last truck Adam bought his 2 years ago. It was right around 50 or 55. I think he's had a couple things that he probably wouldn't try to go for on that, but anyway, ballpark amount. And this one here. Outside of those, and if we don't go electric, like I said, something smaller, not the full size big pickup trucks, something more that Lee can drive for going back forth to town hall, taking samples to the lab instead of driving these big trucks all the way up to Hudson. Take a smaller vehicle,
Colorado
a little SUV or.
Rangers. Yeah, something.
The only tough thing on those is like the Rangers and stuff. From my experience, they got lousy gas mileage to begin with.
Yeah.
And they're small, but they still cost as much as a regular sized truck for some reason. So that's why I'm thinking just something a little. We don't need anything fancy, just something small and affordable. And then to skip down, except for the copier, everything else is huge prices here. And I kind of put it under the. I keep looking here, but I can't find I don't have my papers for that. The study stuff. Funny. So these are line things that they had under the asset management. So the Colonial Pump Station is roughly 1.35 million. Screener replacement was 300,000. We do need to do something with the screener. There's a hole in it that it's in the screening area. It's a stainless steel screen. The screw thing that goes up. Must have got a rock or a brick or something hooked in it and tore a hole in it. And I think they got the estimate at 304,000 in there. Somewhere right around there. And then the piston grit replacement, like I said, I'm leaning more towards repairing the one we got for now. And they got in there was an $800,000 replacement. And one thing that's not on these lists that we need to add to it is the SCADA computers. I want to say that was maybe 9 years ago that we replaced those. so they're probably on borrowed time at this point. I want to say it was roughly 30 grand to upgrade those. When we did it 9 years ago, I want to say it was 25,000. So
Never ending.
no, it isn't. And that's one of the problems when you start getting 20 years plus on a treatment plant. So that's about it.
Colonial Street Pump Station, you think that's a lot of money.
What do they have? 1.3.
Yeah.
I would say it might be on the high. Well, that might actually be fairly close. Just because the one over here, I want to say we're at 900,000 for the Gilboa Street. That's bigger than the one that we would need up there, so it would be a smaller station. But that one up there also needs to be deeper than this one, and it's in a wet area, so the construction portion may be more expensive than this, because when they did the test holes, it was a dry area that they were digging in here, so they didn't think the dewatering would be as bad. It ended up being a little worse than they thought. We would definitely need dewatering up there, because we dug down to tie that house in that was next to it, and it was a battle with the water there at that depth. And that's one of the areas that we need to, if we don't start planning to replace that, I need to do something about sealing around that pump station. The pipe coming in from the short section, somewhere in the vicinity of the pump station, not very far from it. The pipe was collapsed a little bit, so the water, every time we get a good rainstorm, the water just pours into that station. And then there's spots in the sump itself where everything comes into the wet well. That water pours in behind the stairs, and it pours in off the side where that pipe that comes in as well. So we had done some stuff to seal that up a little bit, but they didn't get it sealed completely. So we got more work to try to seal that up if we're not going to replace it anytime soon.
All right, I think we're a little over 3 hours here, so we probably should wrap this up. I think so too. So I would, it's a lot of information to go through. We can still have to have one more meeting, I think, to finalize that.
Yeah.
And then should be in good shape. Got a lot of good information tonight. Thank you.
All right, I got a little more information to get for you, but
Yeah.
go from there.
So I would. Everybody go. Everyone else good?
Good.
Yep.
Make a motion to adjourn at 10:05. 4.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.